So today we're going to talk about complex fractions and unit rates. After 3.5 hours, Pasha had traveled 217 miles. If she travels at a constant speed, how far will she have traveled after 1 hour? So we already have a rate right here. Remember, what's a rate? A rate is comparing two quantities with different units. So we have 217 miles, takes her 3.5 hours. I would like to know how long will it take her to travel 1 hour. So, and let's label this. I want to know how many miles it take her to travel in 1 hour or per hour. So how do you turn 3.5 hours to 1 hour? You divide both numbers by 3 and 5/10. Divide both numbers by 3 and 5/10. So what is 217 divided by 3 and 5/10? Well, I don't like dividing by decimal, so I move this 1 over. And here's a decimal right here at the end. I move this 1 over. So how many groups of 35 go into twos? 21. How many groups of 35 go into 217? Let's see, 5 groups? No. Maybe 6 groups. Yes, 6 groups. So 7, bring down to 0. How many groups of 35 go into groups of 7? How many groups of 35 go into 70? 2 groups. So 6.2. So so she can travel 6.2 miles per hour, or for 1 hour. So in today's study, we're going to talk about complex fractions. So, for example, Dana is skating laps to train for a speed skating competition. She can skate 1 lap in 40 seconds. That's pretty fast. How many laps can she skate in 20 seconds? Write a ratio in simplest form comparing Dana's time to her number of laps. So what's her time? 40 seconds in 1 lap. So I just wrote a ratio. Did not label it, as you can tell. Suppose Dana skates for 20 seconds. How many laps would she skate? So if she only skates 20 seconds, isn't that half of what she did? So it's half of a lap. Write the ratio of Dana's time from exercise 2 to her number of laps. So what was her time? 20 seconds. How many laps can she do? 1/2. How could you simplify the ratio you wrote? If I had to solve this, I would do 20. Remember, what this means? This line means divide. 20 divided by 1/2. So in other words, if you do 20 divided by 1/2, that's 40. So you could do 40 seconds in 1 lap. So what we're going to learn today is 20 divided by 1/2 are called complex fractions. Complex fractions are fractions with a numerator and denominator or both that are also fractions. So we're going to learn how to set up a rate when you have fractions. So can you have a fraction within a fraction? Let's do an example. The construction worker is blacktopping a driveway. She blacktops 35.5 square yards in 5-6 hours. How many square yards can she blacktop per hour? So I would like to know how many can she do in 1 hour. So how do you turn 5-6 to 1 hour? I divide both numbers by 5-6. So if I do 5-6 divided by 5-6 is 1 hour. 35.5 divided by 5-6. So it makes 1 hour. So what's another way to rewrite 35.5? 71 halves. And then do the reciprocal of the second number is 7/5. So 71 times 6 is 426. 2 times 5 is 10. So another way again, this is 1 hour. This is how many square yards in 1 hour. So how many groups of 10 go at 426? 42 groups at 610. Or another way to simplify is 42 3/5 square yards per hour. So she can blacktop 42 3/4 square yards per hour. So let's do one that does not already have an example done for you. Ito is spreading mulch in his yard. He can spread 4 2/3 square yards in 2 hours. How many square yards can he do per hour? So So 1 hour. So I want to find a unit rate. To turn a 2 hour to 1 hour, I need to divide both numbers by 2. So I want to divide this into two groups. So what is 4 and 2/3 divided by 2 square yards? 2 hours divided by 2 would be 1 hour. So I need to solve this. How do you divide again? Oh, turn this into an improper fraction. That would be 14/3. And how do you write 2 as a fraction? 2, 1. So let's solve. Keep on solving it. So this is how many square yards per hour for 1 hour. So what do you remember about dividing fraction? You need to do the reciprocal of the second number. So 14/3 times the reciprocal of the second number. Square yard, 1 hour. So let's solve this. That's 14/6 square yard per 1 hour. So what's another way to say 14/6? How many groups of sixes go into 14? 2 groups with a remainder of 2 6. Square yard per 1 hour. Can you simplify this? Yes. 1 1/3 square yards per 1 hour. Wow. That's all. Oh, sorry. 2 1/3 square yards per hour. So if she does 4 2/3 square yards in 2 hours, in 1 hour, we divide it by 2, we got 2 1/3. So you might also say to yourself, couldn't I just divide 4 by, what's half? Isn't divide by 2 is that just half of the number? What's half of 4 2/3? Half of 4 is 2, half of 2/3 is 1/3. That's another way you could have done it. So what we are doing is we are dividing it to find how much a unit rate per a unit. This one will be a little harder now. Aubrey can walk 4.5 miles in 1.5 hours. Calculate her average speed in miles per hour. So they want you to find miles per hour for each hour. So how do you turn 1.5 hour to 1 hour? We have to divide by 1.5. Divide by 1.5. So 4.5 divided by 1.5 will be how many miles per hour? So on the side, let's do the work here and figure out what is 4.5 divided by 1.5. Are they improper? So let's turn it improper. That's 9 halves. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3 halves. What do you do when you divide fraction? You multiply by its reciprocal, and you get 18/6. So what's another way to say 18/6? 3. Oh, so 4.5 mile in 1.5 hour is the same as saying he walks 3 miles per hour. So that's how you do this next one. So we're trying to find the unit rate per hour. So how many miles does he walk every 1 hour? 3 miles. And the last one is my fan club members are making spirit buttons because they love me so much. They made 409 spirit buttons in 3.5 hours. Wow, they really love me. They're working fast. Calculate the number of buttons the fan club makes per hour. So I want to know if I was there, if my whip was like, hurry up. In 1 hour, how many can they do? So I want to know each hour, how many buttons can they do? So I need to divide this by 3.5. Divide this by 3.5. So you have 3.5 hours. You're dividing it by 3.5 will be 1 hour. So what's 490 divided by 3.5? Set this as a fraction. So that's 491. And what's 3.5 as a fraction? 7 halves. What do you remember about dividing fractions? You have to multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. So it'll be 490 over 1 times the reciprocal is 27. And What is 490 times 2? 18? That's 980. So that's the answer. No, I'm sure you can turn this back into a mixed number. How many groups of 7 go into 980? Let's see. 1 time, 4 times. So 140 spirit buttons every hour. So every hour, 140. Every hour, another 140. Every hour, another 140. And then for the half hour, they do 70, which so 3.5 hours would be 490 spirit buttons. So pretty much what we just did is complex fractions. So complex fractions is you have a fraction in another fraction as part of the numerator denominator. And then in unit rate, you have to figure out how much is per the unit. For example, I want to re-simplify this to 1 hour. For this one, I want to do this per unit 1 hour. And I want to do this one per unit 1 hour.